slow. You can play, but just slow.
Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Lancaster on this beautiful, is it winter or is it spring morning? I think we're in that funny place. Congratulations to all of you for getting to church on time. In about an hour, we'll welcome some more folks who show up. So congratulations to you all. Interestingly enough, we're talking about distractions of all kinds today, and the time change would certainly fit into that. I was thinking of what I needed for a call to worship this morning, and you may need this too. This is an old favorite by Wendell Berry. He writes, "When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Let us worship together. I invite you to find a teal hymnal near you. We're going to stand and sing together number 1015, I Know I Can. Please rise as you are able. Teal hymnal number 1015. Got it. When sorrow heals my soul and burdens make me strong, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. My sister in my heart, my sister in my heart, my brother in my song, though troubles wait at every turn, I can go on. And though the journey is long, the destination is near, though troubles wait at every turn, I can go on. Last verse, so brothers, take my hand. So brothers, take my hand. And sisters, sing my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know we will go on. Nicely done. Please stay standing for the lighting of our chalice. In Unitarian Universalism, the flaming chalice is our most central symbol. We light it at each of our services. This week we're lighting it at 2 weddings. We light it at funerals and memorial services. For us, it is a flame of knowledge and of truth. It is a beacon of hope and of justice, of peace, of joy, and of love. This morning we light our chalice with these words by my colleague Christine Robinson. She says, "We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together." Please be seated. want to welcome you all to church this morning. It's really great to gather and sing together and sit in silence and hear some words just to be together. I want to welcome everyone to this sanctuary, whether you've been coming to this church for decades, whether you were married in it, or whatever else happened for you in this room. You are welcome here, and of course, if it is your very first Sunday with us, we are glad that you are here as well. In a moment, we'll get to see some new members who have joined the church, and that's always a special day in the life of a congregation. Want to just remind folks that there are still illnesses running around. It is perfectly fine to wear a mask to church, and we just ask if you're feeling really poorly, just stay home on a Sunday morning and catch the live stream of the service, and we'll welcome you back when you're feeling better. So we will all get through this cold, flu, whatever else season together. Again, welcome to church this morning. It's wonderful to see all of you. Will the new members come forward, please? Just come and make a line along the front of the sanctuary here. That's all right, yeah. Anytime new folks choose to join a congregation, it's a wonderful, wonderful day. It means that you have found a place here where you feel like you fit, where you feel like you can make some friends, where you can be of service, and where you will be accepted just as you are, with your own interesting spiritual path and your own thoughts and feelings. We want to welcome each and every one of you to this congregation. We are made so much stronger by the new folks who find us, and we know that ever since the founding of this church, this is just how it has worked. Folks have joined, and they've been part of this congregation, and then new folks join, and more and more and more on down through the decades. Sue Ziegler is the chair of our membership committee, and I think she's going to say your names or whatever. Here you are, Sue. Take the mic.
First of all, I'd like to welcome all the new members. We actually have a dozen folks joining the church. Several could not be here this morning. A couple may be sleeping in. I don't know. But when we have new members, we like to give you something to remember the church by. We have on the end Steph and Mark Frank. And right there, Alyssa Zygmunt. And Susan and Tom McGarity. And we have Kendall Sheaves, and we have Kathy Bergen. And please welcome them all. If you're members of committees, all these people, I'm sure, would love to be involved in the church. And it's just a very special day, and it's been a great class of new members. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sue. And there'll be cake downstairs at coffee hour, and you'll have a chance to greet these folks warmly and have a piece of cake. So let's give them another nice round of applause for our new members. Welcome to you all.
Oh, I forgot to say my name is Lilian Pacheco. I'll be your worship associate today. I'll start the reading and then you follow. Number 728, blessed are those. Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit.
Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered unto.
Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along to join in fellowship, service, learning, and growth.
Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular, sustained, and generous giving, and who give of themselves no less than their money.
Blessed are those who know that the church is often imperfect, yet rather than harbor feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of the church leaders.
Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, who realize that change is brought about through human meetings, who do the work of committees and stay till the end.
Blessed are those who speak their minds in meetings, who can take and give criticism, who keep alive their sense of humor.
Blessed are those who know that the work of the church is a transformation of society, who have a vision of beloved community, transcending the present, and who do not shirk from controversy, sacrifice, or change.
Blessed are they indeed.
Our reading this morning that goes with the sermon is a poem by Naomi Lazard, the title of which is In Answer to Your Query. We are sorry to inform you that the item you ordered is no longer being produced. It has not gone out of style, nor have people lost interest in it. In fact, it has become one of our most desired products. Its popularity is still growing. Orders for it come in at an ever-increasing rate. However, a top-level decision has caused this product to be discontinued forever. Instead of the item you ordered, we are sending you something else. It is not the same thing, nor is it a reasonable facsimile. It is what we have in stock, the very best we can offer. If you are not happy with this substitution, let us know as soon as possible. As you can imagine, we already have quite an accumulation of letters such as the one you may or may not write. To be totally fair, we respond to these complaints as they come in. Yours will be filed accordingly, answered in its turn. Every congregation I ever served thought I was crazy with the poetry. Whenever I'm on a long solo camping trip, 7 days or more, I have what I call the bad day. It usually shows up about day 4 or 5, when I have grown accustomed to its arrival. The bad day is the day I want to abandon the camping trip. It is the day I wonder what I am doing out here all by myself. If the weather is rainy, the bad day is worse. Stuck in my tent, I imagine myself cozy and dry at home. I think about what my friends are doing and how I could be with them. I imagine all the things I could accomplish if I was not sitting by this stupid lake. During the bad day, I just want to pack everything up and go home. Nothing seems fun or interesting where I am. The books I brought to read fail to hold my attention. My food bores me. The bad day passes very slowly. Just to be over with it, I usually go to bed early and worry that the next day will be just as bad. On a camping trip, part of what makes the bad day bad is a lack of modern-day interruptions. Sure, ducks might swim by, the sun might peek in and out of the clouds, I might hear a beaver slap its tail in the distance, or a chipmunk might scold me from a nearby tree. But my campsite has no electricity, so no television, no computer, no stereo. My campsite has no cell phone reception, so no calls, no texts, no Facebook. I am hours from my car with nothing to do. I can't even see what's happening in the news. On the bad day, I wonder, whose idea was it to come clear out here anyway? Evagrius, a 4th century monk who lived in the Egyptian desert, writes of the equivalent of the bad day for him and fellow monks. Describing the feeling of listlessness at the passing of time, Evagrius calls it the noonday demon because it appeared to him most often when the midday sun was at its brightest. He says of this noonday demon, first of all, he makes it seem that the sun barely moves at all and that the day is 50 hours long. Then he constrains the monks to look constantly out the window, to walk outside the cell, to gaze carefully at the sun to determine how far it stands from the 9th hour, to look now this way and now that, to see if perhaps one of the brethren appears from his cell. The cleverness of this noonday demon is that he does not tempt the monks or us to do something we will regret. Rather, our malaise comes from realizing how much more of our lives we have to face. Also known as acedia, this demon reminds us we must go to work over and over for years and years to come. It taunts us with the many thousands of meals we will have to cook, loads of laundry we will have to wash, sidewalks we will have to shovel, and rooms we will have to vacuum. Acedia makes us regret our choices. It weighs us down with responsibility. It perfectly describes the day-to-day slog that represents so much of our lives, or the lives of people we know. Acedia is the root of all boredom, and we will do almost anything in our power to avoid feeling it. I imagine most of you, like me, have a cell phone close at hand all day, every day. Mine is in my pocket right now, carefully set with the ringer off. It is my main mode of communication. It is my timepiece and my navigator. I use it to see weather forecasts and to check my Facebook feed and to read restaurant reviews. I love my phone and depend on it. Nothing short of having my wallet go missing will cause me to panic more than misplacing my phone. Can I get an amen? And worse than my dependency on my cell phone for communication is my inability not to check it when it rings, pings, buzzes, or beeps. We all know how this goes. We're in a meeting or having dinner with a friend, watching TV or driving, and our cell phone goes off. It vibrates or makes a sound to let us know someone is calling, texting, or emailing us, and we simply cannot let it lie there or stay in our pockets. I know you're not that dissimilar from me. We have to check it. We have to see who is telling us what. And even though I've trained myself not to respond to the phone in the car, I still have to peek at it when it goes off every time. It gives me a little rush. But it is not just our cell phones that demand our attention. Many of us check our email many times a day. Many of us keep up with the hour-by-hour news cycle. Many of us imagine all this checking is keeping us productive and informed. Might we instead be battling our own version of that noonday demon? In his book, The Lost Art of Reading, David Ulin writes, "I can check my email in an instant, and 20, 30 times a day I do. What am I looking for? Something, everything, a way of staying on top of the information? It doesn't matter. The looking is an end unto itself." The looking is an end unto itself. In all religious traditions, the main hurdle to prayer and meditation is not the outside world. It is the jumpy nature of the human mind. Though it helps to start in a quiet, conducive spot, meditation is not about getting the rest of the world to be quieter. Meditation's goal is to quiet the mind to the noisiness of the world. Likewise, prayer does not seek to change the outer world. Rather, it seeks to change the inner world, thereby affecting our actions. In both practices, as the mind gets more and more used to the practice of calm focus, the world slips away. Distractions cease, at least for a time, and the monkey mind stops its chattering. But first, the person must set aside attachments. She must lay aside her productive modern life, at least temporarily. Those of us who stay close to our devices should ask ourselves, what keeps drawing us to them, says Jeff Vogel, professor of theology and ethics at Hampden-Sydney College in Virginia. Are we looking for looking's sake, he asks. This may account for our often mindless use of social media, but not necessarily for our frequent visits. Why do we return again and again, he asks, as if observing a device-driven liturgy of the hours? He goes on to say, I'd like to suggest that in addition to the desire simply to look, we are in pursuit of interruption. We are creating an occurrence when there is none, because we want something, anything, to happen. No doubt, he admits, it's a minor foible, but it has implications for the life of faith, particularly for the life of prayer. The hardest thing most of us will ever seek is contentment. Contentment with our families, contentment with our jobs, contentment with where we live, contentment with our spouses, contentment with our ever-changing bodies. For contentment, more than happiness, is the true measure of the spiritual life. If we are so in the habit of pursuing interruption, as Jeff Vogel suggests, when will we ever be able to stop long enough to know what we really want? When will we ever be able to stop long enough to hear that still small voice inside? I assure you, our world is not going to get simpler in the coming years. It has every indication of becoming louder, more complex, and increasingly fraught with competing interests. Our devices are going to vibrate and ring even more than they do now? How will we adjust to the ever-increasing intrusion of these manufactured disruptions? Recent years have seen a rise in the dystopian novel, and there are some really good ones out there if you need a little escapism. I recently read Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel and recommend it highly. These dystopian novels come in two types, with zombies and without zombies. I prefer the ones without zombies. But one of the main attractions of both types is the chance to imagine a world utterly devoid of technology. Usually these novels begin a few years after some cataclysm has destroyed most of the world's human population. Using flashbacks to give us clues about the first horrible days after the collapse of society, these novels propel us into a world without electricity, without medicine, without fossil fuels, and without laws. America is blasted back to colonial-era simplicity, though it longs for the technology that it no longer has. Surviving on deer meat, post-apocalyptic Americans miss their cell phones and iPads. But without technology, humans must face one another in these novels. They must rely on one another. They sometimes have to fight one another. They have to live in the here and now in a way they could have avoided some years earlier. Now, I'm glad these novels are just novels. I do not want to live in a world without electricity, medicine, fuel, and laws. But much of the charm of figures like Henry David Thoreau and his Cabin Near Walden Pond lies in the fantasy of life reduced to its most basic. Without the distractions of modern life, nature can speak. But life as we know it is not likely to end soon. Of course, the best course is always one between utter dependence on technology and a complete renunciation of it. The best course is to find balance in one's life between the tide of emails and the restful inaction of meditation. The best course lies between busyness and leisure. And my guess is most of us could use a little more leisure. Most of us could benefit from some downtime. Quite predictably, the morning after the camping trip's bad day, I rise with a new appreciation for the simplicity of the lake shore, the simplicity of another day with nothing productive to do. When the bad day has passed, I am no longer mad at myself for coming on the trip. My food no longer bores me. My books seem interesting again. And best of all, I am more at one with my surroundings. After a few days of solitude, I have often found myself feeling less separate from the water, rocks, trees, plants, and animals around me. A mystical sort of union envelops me. Time loses its rigidity. My mind calms itself. My desire for distraction fades. But this usually does not happen until after the bad day. Somehow I need to get through the bad day to reach the shore of contentment. I wonder what might happen for you as well if you were to pay less attention to your devices so that you might pay more attention
to the beauty all around you? What might it be like to let your phone buzz and not look at it? What might you find when you get beyond boredom? What contentment lies close at hand? So be it. Amen.
So I have a few reflections on our Reverend's sermon while we keep checking our phones. Right now, I'm not feeling very well because my phone is all the way back there in the closet and it's silent, so I don't have it with me. Seems like we want to feel it with us all the time. I confess I'm addicted to my phone. I love it. It's the first thing I check in the morning and the last thing I check at night. And sometimes during the nighttime, I check it too, if I wake up. So I'm guilty as charged. I love to read. I love to text. I can text for hours. I love to check the headlines. I have a group of at least 3 friends. First thing every morning, we text each other to see how we're doing. And I have another friend from church that she does it in the evenings. And that's like every day, every single day. I don't know what we talk about, but we do it every single day. So in that way, it gives me a sense of connection. I also love to Google, oh my goodness, and to shop. And it's so easy. I think by this time, you do it without thinking. You see something and you're like, I need that. And then you're on Amazon and then it's done. And then you get the package. It's like, I think a lot of times we don't really think what we're doing. It's just so easy and so convenient and it's right there. And I think it gives one a sense of power. Like, if I need something, I can get it instantly. If I need information, I can go and search for it in my own time. Just never self-diagnose yourself with that med MD. Don't do that. And that's easy too. I think some people actually might not even go to the doctor because they're checking the symptoms. Yeah. And then they're like, well, this is what I have or whatever. The thing about the phone, though, that I really like, it doesn't talk back. Unlike other things, it doesn't talk back to you. It doesn't give you feedback, but it doesn't argue with you either. I can turn my cell phone on and off whenever I please, except in church. I feel like I am a master in charge of my own universe when I have that little device in my hands. I remember one time for New Year's at St. Anne's retirement home, they used to give a silent retreat for midnight of New Year's Eve. And when I told my friends I was going to that, they were like, are you crazy? Do you have 2 heads? Because it was totally in silence. When everybody was out partying, we would be there, total silence. And I confess I wasn't sure, but it was one of the best things I've ever done. I would do it again in a heartbeat because it was like a total disconnection from all the externals. I can't help but look at you all when Reverend Dana's speaking, and it's like he's got our total attention. We're like riveted. And you know, when else do we do this? I mean, with our phones, it's like popcorn memory. We just get flashes here and there. It's like you never have to really sit and pay attention to somebody or to something. During COVID, when we had to work remotely because we couldn't leave our homes, I was a mental health therapist and I do individual therapy sessions. So couldn't leave my house, they couldn't come to my office. 9 o'clock in the morning, I'd sit in my dining room table, 9 to 5, see people. 5 o'clock, walk 3 steps to the living room and collapse on the sofa. I couldn't take it, it was so hard because I missed that seeing people. During COVID, we used Zoom here and we couldn't see each other, but we could interact at least. So with the phone, you don't have that. You don't know how someone's responding to you, what they mean behind their words. Oftentimes I'm thinking, oh, is she being sarcastic or was he being this? But I don't really know. They're not in front of me. And there is a connection, but it's not like, for me, old-fashioned, the real thing, where we're face-to-face and I can see your reactions and we can keep on talking all we want. Sometimes using the phone candy and personal. Sometimes it's the quickest, best thing in the world. There's good and bad. I noticed I've been living at Providence Place at senior living. Was so refreshing. It's over 65. There's no cell phones at the dining table. There's no cell phones when you're talking to people. People give you their attention. When we sit in the lobby before or after meals, there's no cell phones interruptions. We're just talking to each other, and I find that more and more refreshing. So that's my reflection on the sermon. And now the Pledge Committee asked me to talk about why I pledge. Since I set foot in this church 17 or 18 years ago, I knew this was the church where I wanted to belong. I was very depressed at the time, and I would sit in the back pew. I had no soul, just sit and cry. And people would come and hand me tissues, and they would pat me on the back, and nobody bothered me. And I did that for 3 weeks, and I said, this is my church. And it's never changed. It was so refreshing. I mean, I knew people were concerned, but nobody intruded on me, and that was really great. So I became a member as soon as I could, and I became a member because I wanted to participate fully in all the doings of the church, not just come on Sundays, but to be a full member. I wanted to place my vote during congregational meetings. I knew I wanted to volunteer here to support the church. In the beginning then, I just pledged from a place of comfort. I would just choose a random amount. Sounds good. I would pledge monthly and think nothing more of it. I wasn't thinking for years about the larger picture, how this church moves, all the programs I've been in, the special activities. I didn't think about what it takes to keep the building running smoothly, except for when we didn't have AC in the summer, then I worried. And I thought about what it takes to keep all the good people that work here, giving them the benefits they deserve. And that's all part of pledging, because that's all about how this church runs. Now that I have been here for a while, I think differently. I used to call this, the church of rich people. And I used to think that everything ran magically. But as I went along and heard more, and I started thinking about what I just told you, I became more serious and committed in being an active person here. Pledging has transitioned to looking at all my resources, my time, my talent, my resources, and then I choose the amount I want to pledge. I tried it up a little bit more every year, which turned kind of hard when I retired. And some people think I should pledge a lot, because people pledge a lot. You pledge what you can. You pledge what you give freely out of your heart. And you think about everything that it takes to keep us coming here week after week for our marvelous time together. So thank you. The easiest way to make a pledge is to do it this morning at church. When we go down to Emerson Hall to salute the new members, where we'll have cake, members of the annual pledge campaign team will be there at coffee hour with pledge forms, and they'll answer any questions you have. Please give generously. You belong here. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilian. You didn't set up the offering, but that's okay. It's just church. If you don't do it, I will. Each week we are called upon to be generous, and we share the offering that we received this morning with one of our partners. And for this month and next month, we are sharing it with the Interfaith Partners for the Chesapeake. As the plates come by, know that the money that you put in it will be split between the church and the Interfaith Partners for the Chesapeake. Please give generously. The offering will now be received. We come to a thoughtful, meditative time in our service, a time in which, if you have come to church this morning with a joy on your mind and would like to press that joy into a stone, you're welcome to come forward and do that. Likewise, if you have come this morning with something heavy on your heart, a sorrow or a concern, I invite you to press that into a stone as well. We'll come up the center aisle and form a line and go through it that way and return back by the side aisle. If you would like to place a stone in the sand representing a joy or a sorrow, please come forward at this time. I invite you to sit as a gathered congregation in a moment or two of silence, and then I'll offer a prayer. I invite you to take a hand and to place it on your chest or near your throat and to see if you can feel your own heart beating with your fingers. Feel yourself sink into the chair. Feel its sturdiness in this sturdy place. Feel that beating of your own heart, that constant circulating of blood, that constant use of oxygen and nutrients, that constancy that keeps you alive. Remember, your heart does this all day long, all night long. It does it when you are calm. It does it when you are upset. It does it when you are filled with joy. And it does it when you are crushed with sadness. In this busy, distracted world, your heart is not distracted. It knows what is good for you. And so it beats over and over and over again, keeping you alive, reminding you that you are good and worthy and loved. Return to this beating as often as you can. Amen.
I invite you to join me in our affirmation of faith found in the gray book in the first page, first in English and then in Spanish. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ofrenda. Este es nuestro gran pacto, el convivir unidos en paz, el buscar la verdad en amor y ayudarnos unos a los otros.
Lilian would like to draw your attention to the announcements that are in the order of service. She would like you to read those carefully and jot them down in your calendar if you'd like. There's also an insert that you're welcome to take home and put on your fridge. And then she would be so pleased if you would come downstairs for coffee hour following the service and to enjoy some cake and some coffee together.
What he said.
And then she would also like you to know that we have a special auction announcement right now.
Come one, come all.
Step right up to the UUCL Circus Auction. Don't be shy. Bring your
moolah
wallet. Checkbook. Bank card. And big bucks. And your pesos.
Coming soon on Saturday, March 29th. Purchase your tickets now for the grand event. Downstairs.
Thank you.
You'll definitely want to get your tickets to that. It's a very fun night here at church. Let us sing again together. We're going to stick with the teal hymnal again. We're going to turn to number 1020 and stand and sing together, Woe Ya Ya. Eli will lead us. Number 1020. Please rise as you are able.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah. Keep going. Oh yeah yeah, oh yeah. You don't need your books, friends. Oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we are going together, that is for sure. Go in love and go in peace. Amen.